Yes, we were talking about my walkabout. So I had to catch up with me. So stop with the tangents. Go get to the point. So on my walkabout, I have something that really captivates me right then and there, and I want everybody on my Facebook to know about it. I'll take a picture and I will get rid of my phone as I'm walking up and down the aisles. And there was very wide aisles, so I wasn't really worried about walking into anybody. But I'm walking around and not paying attention to where I am while I'm writing my little text, my little blurb on my Facebook, attaching the picture, and I happened to just be meandering up and down the aisles, and I was near my layout. Yes, my friends keep on saying, Dave, you forgot your drink again. Yes, I did. so, so, but I'm still posting my Facebook thing, and just next to me there was a couple, and I didn't realize that, but there was a couple just meandering around just like I was, and the guy stops dead in his tracks, just stops dead, like, oh my God, I hear like really loud, and I look up, and he's just gawking at the space layout, and I was like, I get lots of responses about the space layout. Like if you're my age or near my age or slightly younger than my age or whatever, um, it goes over pretty well. And again, I'm very humbled and appreciative of that. But this guy was just loud exclamation points. Oh my God. Like this, right? And he actually stopped dead. Like this girlfriend kept another step in front of him because I heard it and I looked up and she was like, and then she comes back because they're holding hands. And then he's like, the jaws dropped. And he's looking at it and I'm going, wow, that was very edifying to know that I've showed it so many times in so many shows and so many whatevers. And it's not that I'm bored of showing it because, again, every time I show it, I do something slightly different. Like this one was the first time all tracks were copperized and or powered, and that was fantastic. So I keep on incrementally improving it. Although, but when if you saw it back in, well, I won't say 2011 at BrickFed, but if you saw it when it looked like this, you're gonna say, yeah, I've seen that before. Like we've seen it before. Yes, you have. But I do make changes to it, and I also know that there are certain conventions that will not allow you to bring the same mock 2 years in a row, and that's fine. I 100% abide. I appreciate that rule if that's the rule you have, and I will absolutely abide by that. But that reaction was wonderful. And I got that a lot. And I told these stories so many times, but it happens at every single show. Not that one, because I never had that before. But it happened 2 or 3 times where a father is walking through and he's, I would say, slightly younger than me. And he's got his daughter, well, probably less younger than me. He's got his daughter, and she's like 8 or 10, and she's dragging him over to some friend's layout over there. It was fantastic. But he wants to see the classic space, and he wants to talk to me about all the sets he had when he was a kid and how he gave it up when he was in high school, and his parents was in his parents' basement, and he's buying her Lego now. She's 8 or 10. She loves the Lego, and he's going to go back to his mom and dad's place and grab his old box. Oh, I had that one. And that was a good 15-minute conversation. And his daughter's like trying to drag him away. So it was like, that's the standard conversation that I have with people, unless they're sans kids, as they say, without kids. Then it's a good long conversation, and they talk about their love of specific sets. They talk about the adventures they had with the friends coming over, and we divided. Since we didn't have a lot of wing plates, they say is what happened this weekend. We didn't have a lot of wing plates. We didn't have a lot of minifigs, so we would have draws, like a parts draft. When they came over to my house, they said my buddies would come over, and then whatever we got to build with the rest of the pieces, the basic pieces, and we had our adventures and whatever. So they came up with how we're gonna distribute the pieces nicely and whatever. And then the next time we do it, the next person draws first and whatever. Like a whole big thing that, so you can have fun with classic space. And I adore those stories, and that's what, honestly, that's what, and to be said, I would not get that without the layout. I would not get those stories. I would not get that interaction. If I show up with a micro, absolutely, micros are great. That's nice, and they walk on, right? If I showed up with GVC, fantastic, they walk on, right? But the layout, the not everybody. It's not for everybody. I didn't make it to get everybody interested, but it's for those people that had the same love of classic space that I do, and it was amazing how. And this is the other thing I noticed: Brick Fat. I keep on doing that because it's French. Brickomania this year is that the public were wearing Lego shirts. Like when we were at Anime North, people who are not cosplaying, they would have some sort of Naturo or whatever, Transformers or not GI Joe, Star Wars. They'd have a T-shirt minimum. 90%. If you're not in cosplay, you're wearing your favorite thing on T-shirt, the Flash, like Sheldon Cooper, Superman logo, whatever it is. You're having a logo on your T-shirt at Anime North both years in a row, both years. At Lego conventions, the public walk in, and they're usually whatever they're wearing that day. They're not cosplaying in a T-shirt. As I would like to say, they're not wearing a Lego T-shirt. Us exhibitors, we have every wild. If you seen any T-shirt that has Lego on it, somebody's wearing it at one of these conventions, or they're wearing collared shirts with Lego on it, which cause more effort, or even sometimes a costume. Dana. Dana, I love Dana. Never comes up here, but although I can't say I don't go down there. So. So but at Brickomania, I had at least straight up a dozen people. I'm walking around. They weren't part of the group. They were not, as far as I know, they were not part of the attendees, and they were wearing classic space T-shirts. I saw so many classic, just the standard big print of the planet with the ship flying around. At least a dozen people who are not part of the con walking around Saturday and Sunday with a classic space T-shirt on. It was fantastic. It was like so awesomely fantastic. And I usually had a chat with them because they would come over to and again, it's just like the other show that I talked about a long time ago, where I was, where Callum put me, and then people come in the main entrance, and then the father would just see the top of the tower on the other side of the room. He said, "That's classic space. I got to go straight there." And the public opened at Bricks in the Six, and 5 seconds later, there's a guy standing at the layout. They're going, "Holy moly, you must have run over here." It's like, he says, "I saw it the second I stepped in the door." I said, I love stories like that. And then we talked each other's ears off for a while. And so these guys, the language, there was no language barrier. Most of the people, there was one or two people that did not speak a lick of English, but their partner did, and there was translations. Was fantastic. I wish I knew parlez-vous français, but I do not. I did feel a little inadequate. Nobody made me feel inadequate, but I wish I did more in school to pick up how to speak French. But it was fantastic conversations, absolutely adorable, wonderful conversations throughout the entire weekend. Not just about the layout, but just about our love of the brick, the hobby, and then talk about castles and everything else that was there. And it was a wonderful, wonderful convention. I cannot keep on talking about how wonderful the convention was, but I'm going to. But anyway, so that's what I wanted to wrap this up by saying, that I do this for the shows now. If I didn't care about the shows, I wouldn't have that layout, because that layout's not for me in my house. Honestly, I can't set it up here nicely. I started doing it for Janie originally, at that specific layout. The ad hoc layouts that Jeff and I used to do for the Christmas shows and all the other hobby shows, it was just ad hoc, and we put minimal effort into it, besides the square, and we just show up and just throw stuff out there, and that was perfectly fine. But that's for the general audience who don't really, whatever. But for these brick cons and other things, that layout, I'm glad I made it the way I made it. It doesn't need accolades. It doesn't need, this is the best thing ever. One person came to me afterwards and said I should have got best in show. No, absolutely, I should not have gotten best in show at at Brickomania. I was not even close. I should have got best in show. That historical thing next to me was the most. I will be talking about that for a long time, and I'm even talking to Sandy. I would love to go see it in person at the museum that they're going to be displaying it in. I wish I could give you links and stuff, but I don't have any. But because it's not that I'm hard on myself. I know in a general, I'm niche. I get so niche, and people outside that niche are not going to get it, and I fully understand, and I have no problem with the fact that they're not going to get it, and I support them for getting what they want to get, and that's the whole thing. I didn't do it for them either. I did it for us space fans, and people who want to get it, and if they don't want to get it, I still love you, and that's fine. Anyway, I talked too much. That's it. That's all. I'm going to go to bed now, and but I wanted to talk about that before I shut her down, and talk about what I removed, which was fantastic. Everything's lighter, cleaner, nicer, and I'm going to see one of my plans, because I do have to do the wiring and all that stuff, is to possibly get a hold of Rob and look at these USB kits. Or just 9-volt kits, and that power even the lights with RCXs. That's an idea. Right now we have 12 120 volt lighting kits, and I don't know how many RCXs would need to power all of that. So we'll see, or we'll see what the USB. So I'm gonna do some investigations. I'm not gonna jump right now, because if the layout as it is working, but I do have to take it apart to fix stuff in the interior of all my buildings now. I've been neglecting that for a long time, and it just, as I say, the whole section died during the public day, and I'm not taking it apart to figure out what's going on, because it's right at the bottom of the tower. I'd have to take the whole tower apart. So I might pull that part out soon, but then if I'm doing that anyway, then I might as well start rewiring it to begin with, because it is some of the lights don't work, as we know that. So I might do a whole redo of the lighting, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. The other thing I want to do, and I verified again that it worked just fine, is the door mechanism. But I didn't bring that piece that's sitting here on my desk for the last 3 years to push the 924 in and out of the repair bay. I want to get that working, because then there's interactivity with the audience, and other ideas to get the audience interacting with the layout without breaking anything, which is where this thing comes in. Shush. Where this thing comes in. So this is still sitting here waiting for me to do something with it. And so there are future states that I have not been able to work into the public show ready public stuff, because I've been so busy with the modifications just to get to the point where I can do all the bells and whistles now. This was one of the first shows where I felt extremely comfortable that everything that I've done so far is established, and therefore I can focus on the minutiae and do the fun stuff, like the interaction, like the Easter egg hunt, like all that other stuff. Get my org chart printed at some point, because now I don't have to worry about the layout anymore. But today I do, because there are some broken parts that I have to get working again. But overall, the layout is good. I'm happy with it as it is, but I'm going to be happy with it when I make all these other improvements. Anyway, so that's it. That's all. You guys all stay safe. Take care. Thank you, David. We'll talk more